Hello, I'm your host, Dustin Scott. Welcome back to another episode. What? What are you doing?
It's alcohol. Just stopping the germs.
Why are you spraying my face with alcohol?
Just want to put a little Corona on it.
I'm your host, Dustin Scott. Welcome to another episode of Between Two Quarantines, hosted by Vintage Youth. We have our guest, Princess Leia. She's here visiting from Planet COVID
19.
Are you sure it was 19? Wasn't it 16?
Oh, we did leave that planet. We had to evacuate.
Did everyone die of the coronavirus there, or did they die from getting sprayed in the face by alcohol?
Well, no, I mean, it doesn't stop the spread. But we did. We picked everything up and hit a new planet.
So, your husband, David, is a very well-regarded, esteemed member of the Vintage teaching team. He's also your husband. I'm guessing marital dynamics have been pretty difficult as of late, with him recently becoming a Sith Lord, joining
Let's
sides.
face it, we do keep 6 feet between us and a spray bottle.
Okay.
And masks.
Well, there's one benefit to it. I've heard tea drinking stock has really gone up since all the clones have adopted some of his customs. So we can look at the bright side of this situation.
Well, however, we are kind of cautious about the tea drinking. I mean, people touch those boxes. So
one of the biblical tenets is honoring and respecting your elders. I just wanted to kind of confront you on a certain issue. I had a good friend of yours, a little bit of an older gentleman by the name of Jar Jar Binks, call me from Hollywood, and he's been having an awfully difficult time making ends meet, with his poor performance in the early movies. He's having a really hard time finding acting positions. I'm just wondering, how do you...
Well, it is hard to act when you can't be more than 6 feet between people. Creates some awkwardness, doesn't it, for the scene? So it has been pretty challenging. And so if you could just, thanks. Don't look over here too often.
I'm just wondering how you live with yourself when poor Jar Jar's out in LA starving to death and you could be there to help.
Well, it is a battle. The old lightsaber and getting our Ewoks. Yeah.
Well, as you may know, we here at Vintage City Church have been really walking through the book of Colossians quite slowly, even slowly before this whole COVID-19 thing happened. And it's really brought it to a snail pace now that everyone is connecting through online videos. So we're in verse 14 of chapter 3 of Colossians. And it says to put on...
Which planet is that on?
Which planet is Vintage City Church on?
No, Colossians 4:19.
Oh, you mean what was the city Colossae? I don't know. It wasn't on COVID-19?
Well, we could check in with R2D2.
Sweet. How's he handling the crisis?
He's in repairs right now.
I've heard he was having a difficult time finding toilet paper after our last guest, Big Country, stole it from him.
That was a problem. He did have to go in for repairs after he was out of toilet paper. And
he pooped himself into irrepair?
Right. Yeah.
That's tragic.
It's tragic, I know. It's been a real loss to the Force.
Well, the Rebel Alliance was overrated anyways, so...
it won't be forever, but
Colossians. Paul teaches in Romans to respect the governing authorities. So when I take a look at Darth Vader, he might be a little bit of a difficult leader to live with, but putting us side by side to Nero, I've got to go with Vader every day of the week. I just got to admit to you.
Well, that's only for the time being. The Force is building power, and that's only what you see now.
Well, sometimes sin is appealing.
The Millennial Falcon is...
I've heard a lot of millennials are getting on board with your little movement.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really
it is
impressive.
Building, it is building those millennials. We are.
Have you thought about
certainly
calling it
grateful for them.
Have you thought about calling it the Snowflake Alliance instead?
I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with Snowflake.
So, getting back on topic, we're in Colossians chapter 3, verse 14, and it says to put on love. You know, when Pastor Greg was investigating this passage, a really interesting thing happens inside the text there. When agape is referred to in regards to a person, it means to be selfless. But when it's referred to and towards an object like R2-D2
Very
or
Yoda.
C-3PO or no, Yoda's somewhere between a person and an object. I'm not sure where he lands. But it actually means to be perfectly contented. So as we're going through this COVID crisis, as we're going through the ultimate failure of the Rebel Alliance, the thing the Lord is teaching us in these
Well, I
moments,
wouldn't say it's quite a failure at this point.
it's looking pretty sketchy. I mean, every morning when I turn on Fox News, it doesn't look good for the Rebel Alliance.
Sounds like the Force is with you. Wisdom. Wisdom this is.
I've never been told I was wise before. That's a new thing. Thank you. How do you express thanks on your home planet? But the interesting thing about agape is this. When applied to a person, it just means to be selfless. But when applied to an object or thing, it means to be perfectly grateful or content in something. So as I was thinking about this teaching and thinking about the way that it applied to all of our lives, no matter what planet we're from, is if you're at home suffering from COVID-19, not the planet, but the disease, or you're suffering from isolation, or your family's just not doing well because you're all sick of each other and your sister and brother are annoying, or perhaps your parents are controlling, the promise of the Lord in this passage is this. If you're grateful and content, you will learn what it looks like to be perfectly loving. Perfect love can only move from that posture of gratefulness. So whether you're at home, whether you're in isolation, or whether you're just stuck on the losing side of an intergalactic war and you're part of the Millennial Alliance,
I feel the Force.
you can learn to be grateful through God's grace in whatever circumstances you face. So, as you learn what it looks like to be selflessly loving and perfectly content, I feel like this form of love would be really helpful in bringing back your husband from the dark side. So we're going to show our clip. Our producers are going to get a camera at an alternate location, and Princess Leia is going to try to bring Sith Lord David Mitchell back to the good side.
Whatever it takes, if that's what it takes, I will trust in that wisdom.
Cool.
Don't worry, I'll save you.
Oh. Hey guys, the team and I miss you guys so much. We just want you to know that we love you, we're thinking about you, and we're praying for you in the midst of this whole COVID-19 shutdown. We just want to know that a lot of us are getting awesome quality time with your families because of this isolation. That can be a little hard, but it's also a huge blessing. In addition to that, I've been dating this really cool girl, and well,
We got married.
we got married. So we just wanted to share it with you guys. So God bless and stay safe. Bye.